Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was son of the Demon King, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Naruto leaves Konoha after he failed the mission to bring back Sasuke after he learns that the council wants him dead. After several years he returns at the request of the Hokage herself when Iwa, Kumo, and Saon make an alliance to go to war with Konoha. Now under a new name, an identity that is feared in every village, can Naruto somehow regain what is his, and destroy all the people that wronged him? Will the very people that he had once considered to be precious to him allow him such vengeance? Naruto had just snuck out of the hospital free from the glaring doctors and nurses who saw him as they walked by hoping he died in a ditch somewhere when he was let out. The mission to retrieve Sasuke had been a failure in every sense of the word, with the Uchiha in the grasp of the snake-san and Orochimaru. The fact that Naruto had technically been the one to make the mission a failure did not help his already low standing in this hellhole village he called his home. Sakura was not too thrilled either, blaming him for Sasuke leaving, telling him had he not tried to rival the Uchiha in power, that the spoiled child would still be in Konoha to give her a date. What she needed was a fat lip to match with her huge forehead. Naruto was so tired of their constant hatred of him, their glares, their ever-desired dream of wanting him dead for things he didn't even do. Naruto needed to get out of Konoha before he suffocated from the village's arrogance. He needed to leave. Period. Not like anyone will miss me. First chance they get they'll celebrate, and break the old man's law, since the team council will overrule it, just like they tried it all the other times. Thought Naruto, having overheard a few council members talk about overruling another execution for breaking the Sandaime Hokage's law. With that thought in mind, Naruto made a shadow clone to head home, hoping that all he had of value wasn't destroyed this time, knowing that what his plans required he leave the leaf. While the Naruto clone went to his apartment, the real Naruto went to the old hag's office to say his goodbye, or at least leave a letter, should she be in one of those meetings. Hokage Tower at the moment. What do you mean you're ordering Naruto's execution? Said Tsunade, who was now completely furious with the council before her, as they were nothing but crusty old men and women from the Dark Ages, thinking they were all right due to their experience with running things in Konoha. Just like you, said Hokage-sama. The demon boy lost to Uchiha Sasuke because he held back, meaning he let the last Uchiha leave, meaning that Uzumaki is a traitor, as well, and therefore must be killed. The only reason he didn't escape was because Kakashi arrived on the scene moments after the battle ended, said Danzo, knowing that the law was very clear on traitors, and the Kyuubi vessel was in such a range of those laws. I see. And what happens if Uchiha Sasuke is captured and brought back to Konoha? Will he be executed too, or do you like to show favoritism to a spoiled bloodline user, who deserts their villages for power? Said Tsunade, wondering how they could make that swing in their favor. We believe that due to the curse seal on Sasuke that he went temporarily insane out of the sheer jealousy of the Kyuubi vessel. Should the Uchiha be captured, the boy will be evaluated by our top seal and psychological experts before going down that road. We are confident that the boy will come around to our side if and when he returns to Konoha, and will be given a chance to redeem himself, said Koharu, smiling a fake smile at the Hokage, hating the woman before her with mutual feelings. You mean your side? You would embrace a traitor, but not the village's hero, who from my understanding was treated worse than the scraps of food you throw at your pets. You are even lucky that I am the Hokage right now because of Naruto, since he was the one that got me to come back here in the first place. Had it not been for him, you would have been powerless against an invasion from Iwa or Kumo, if they ever decided to become bold, said Tsunade, knowing those two powers were exactly Konoha friendly right now. Mind your tongue, Tsunade, as you can be removed if we see fit. We know all about war, or have you forgotten? Said Humor, scowling at the woman, who smashed her fist on the table, cracking it nearly in half. Perhaps you need to be reminded of who I am, Humor-san. If you have some memory loss, maybe you would like to fight me in a spar, so we can resharpen your skills along with your mind, said Tsunade, grinning at the now cowering man, who knew he stood no chance in hell against the woman before him. Enough. The decision is final between us, meaning we overrule any type of intervention you wish to create here, Hokage-sama. The boy will be executed 3 days from now, after he is picked up by our Anbu unit we sent to retrieve him, said Danzo, knowing that the team he had sent was ordered to retrieve, and if necessary subdue the demon child. Unknown to them, a certain clone of a certain person was overhearing this via the ventilation system above the meeting room, before silently going poof. Naruto had made the clone right after going into the office with the help of Shizune, after telling the nice woman he wanted to speak to her in private, but secretly, as well. He had figured since Tsunade was having a meeting with the council his name would come up, and he needed to know what was going on. The end result with the said clone going poof sent all of the learned information back to the original Naruto, who was now in Tsunade's office, or precisely her Hokage chair. He was currently busy writing his goodbye letter, only to stop, as all the information from the clone came pouring into his head, and became angry with the assholes in charge. So that's how it's going to play out, huh? Well, let's see them catch me when they don't even know where I am, or follow me once I get over the border, thought Naruto before writing some final choice words into his note for the council to hear if read out loud. And left out the window to the rendezvous point where his other clone was. Are you sure you want to leave knowing who you leave behind? Not everyone hates your guts, kid. Some may actually sympathize with you, said Kyuubi, as his shadowy face appeared in Naruto's eyesight, as the vessel headed for the forest area. Even if they could, it doesn't matter now. I'll be dead if they catch me, and then the truth will be told with a spin on it, and everyone hates me regardless of all the good I did for them in the past. Is that how you want to be remembered, as a fox? Having your vessel go back to face his executioners, and simply die a dishonorable death, taking you along for the ride into hell? I didn't think that was your style since you are a demon lord. But Naruto slipped past the guards, who were currently not doing their duties on account of them being drunk. Point well taken, kid. However, do you realize that if you do this, then Akatsuki will come after you, and you will no longer be under the protection of the leaf or the super pervert? Said Kyuubi, frowning at his vessel, as if to make the boy realize that with this action came harsh consequences. Protection? Does Konoha protect me? Ha. That's a laughing fox. You know, as well as I do, the only protection I ever got in Konoha was from the old man, and now he's gone. As for Hirosenin, he only cares about his research, and would trade me for a second in terms of training me for a chance to peep in a bathhouse. You look me in the eyes, and say otherwise, thought Naruto, scowling himself at the fox before finally meeting up with his clone, and getting what his things placed in a ceiling scroll he acquired from the shinobi library, before leaving a paint bomb for Mrs. Haruno. The shallow pink-haired woman had on more than one occasion tried to discreetly kill him, having been a former shinobi herself, only to be foiled each time by Naruto's fox-like sense of danger. To add insult to her injury, he had flipped her off several times when at a safe distance after her attempts to make her remember he wasn't dying, at least not by her hands anyway. The times when that part happened. Another point in your favor. I'm impressed, which is not always the case with me, since we demons aren't impressed much due to our high expectations of things lower on the food chain. However, you are a special case, and, as such, I'm going to help you since you are my vessel, as I refuse to have such a weakling for a prison, said Kyuubi, having seen the boy fight using his power. And his own, knowing that the reason the damn Uchiha won was because Naruto showed mercy in not killing the power-hungry fool. And here I thought you liked me because of my charming good looks, thought Naruto, letting out a small laugh, while the Kyuubi itself surprisingly had laughed too at the joke, but whether or not it was meant to insult Naruto or to compliment him, the boy was not sure. We must reach the border soon before they discover that you have made an unofficial departure from Konoha, which I estimate will be any moment now. Even if it is some distance to the hospital from the Hokage Tower, for a shinobi of high level it takes but a mere minutes if not moments, said Kyuubi, and sure enough special ninja alarm bells went off coming from Konoha, indicating a shinobi had abandoned the village. Have I ever told you how I hate it when people around me are right about something? At the moment I don't want them to be foxes, said Naruto, now sensing the growing chakra signatures behind him all anbu level, and closing fast. On more than one occasion, but that is a topic meant for another discussion at a later time. Right now you have to fight these hairless apes off before more come to take you back to your execution, said Kyuubi, knowing that the shinobi team behind them would most likely try to kill his vessel in the forest, then return him for a proper, and more public execution, where some brave shinobi or Hokage may possibly get a decent enough backbone to defend his vessel on their behalf. Fat chance in hell. Konoha some time earlier. Hyuga Hinata was blushing, as she held the flowers in her hands, wondering how Naruto would react when he saw them if he wasn't asleep, while healing his bandaged up body. She had fainted the last time she saw him at the hospital, because he was wrapped almost entirely in bandages, after his body had been practically destroyed in his fight with Sasuke, though she imagined Sasuke was not feeling good either. It hurt her to see the boy that she had come to admire look so broken like that, and Hinata had felt her mind shut down upon the sight. Now, as she headed towards the hospital, Hinata could only hope that Naruto was feeling better, and would come to appreciate these flowers, as a token of her low friendship. Hinata made her way to his room after eventually finding it, wondering slightly as to why the staff around her seemed hateful towards Naruto when she asked for his room. She had hoped that everything was alright when she approached the door, only to find the door was now slightly open. Peeking inside, Hinata held back a gasp, as she saw several anbu looking around the room, finding out, like her, that one Uzumaki Naruto was not in his room. Damn that kid. Where is he? We have to find him so we can keep him contained until his execution, said an anbu with a tiger mask on, punching the wall right next to him out of frustration. Execution? Naruto-kun is going to be executed. Oh no, thought Hinata in horror, as she had heard about executions from a branch house Hyuga clan member, and how they were horrible sights to behold, showing man's cruelty at showing death in such a manner. What are you so upset about? In his condition that monster couldn't have gotten far, and when we catch him, we get to have a little fun with the damn demon, said an anbu with a falcon mask, remembering the specific of their orders from Danzo. Monster? Demon. Naruto-kun isn't a demon. How can someone, as sweet and caring as him, be a demon? Thought Hinata, her eyes nearly swelling up in sadness at a crush, was having his name being driven through the mud like that. We better report our findings to the council, and then later to the Hokage. They've been waiting for an excuse to go after the boy, and this is our chance to get him ourselves, said the third Anbu member, who was their captain, jumping out the window with the other two right behind him. I have to tell Hokage-sama. Thought Hinata was dropping her flowers, and rushing off to tell the woman in charge what she heard, hoping that the female Hokage could save her crush from the apparent death warrant signed on his head. By the time Hinata got to the Hokage tower, the alarm had been sounded, and before she could get to the door, she saw a team of no less than 8 Anbu had out dressed in full combat gear. Fearing even more for Naruto's life, Hinata ran, as fast as her legs could take her, and rushed into the Hokage's office, not hearing Shizun's protest or the 2 Anbu guards behind her trying to stop her. "Hinata, why are you in my office?" said Tsunade, not really in a good mood right now, and the scowl on her face proved it by quickly hiding the letter Naruto left behind. "Why are you all letting them go to kill Naruto-kun?" said Hinata, as her eyes were now releasing her tears, as she ran to the older woman's desk. "How did you find out about that? Who told you?" said Tsunade in an authority-giving voice, only to look worried, knowing she would have to explain herself to the little girl, who now probably thought had a hand in this little plot to kill the blonde vessel. "She hates him too. She's just like all the others that glare at him," thought Hinata before rushing to the door, only for Tsunade to stop her, so she could explain what happened. Tsunade didn't get a chance to, as she felt a blast of intense demonic chakra that could have come from only one source in all of Fire Country. Uzumaki Naruto. A moment earlier with Naruto. "Anything to say before we kill you, demon filth?" said the Anbu captain wearing a cat mask, as he and his team surrounded the boy, all holding deadly-looking weapons. "Yeah, I got something to say, so shut up and listen, because it will be the last thing you ever hear. First, I think you are all a bunch of assholes for taking this job to kill me or whatever it is you were told to do by those teams on the council. Second, even if I do die at your hands, one day so will all of you, and you will all go to hell, and when that day happens, Kyuubi will be waiting for you to make you his own personal playthings. Third, should I survive this, I want you all to remember this. Should I leave any of you remotely alive to count to 10. When I become strong enough, I will return to the Leaf to finish what Kyuubi started by destroying every single arrogant villager and shinobi in Konoha," said Naruto, not going to hold back anymore, and let out all the chakra his body could generate, scaring the Anbu since the level nearly rivaled Hada Kakashi's own. "Is this the Kyuubi's doing?" thought the Anbu team, as they saw the dome of thick blue chakra laced with the demonic red of Kyuubi cover Naruto, before blasting out at them, disrupting their chakra networks. Before any of them could act, Naruto was upon them, punching and kicking them in the various ways of taijutsu that he picked up, as well as learned given what little training he had. With no one to train him growing up, the taijutsu Naruto used was nothing short of a very unorthodox way of brawling, though the power behind each of the blows was still quite powerful. "Fire style. Fire blast jutsu," said an Anbu shinobi, who was able to get his chakra coil system under control, long enough to go through several hand signs, before unleashing a power fire jutsu at Naruto. The fire attack hit dead on surrounding Naruto in the hot fiery blast, giving time for the other shinobi to recover, though some of them doubted that boy would even survive. How wrong they were. The fire around Naruto was soon covered in demonic red chakra, and seemed to reform like a giant fox hovering almost protectively over the boy. It was almost more than the Anbu could take, as they saw Naruto transforming, as well with his eyes now red with slits, his hands resembled claws, and his teeth were sharper with fangs along the canine teeth. "You puny mortals think you can simply just go and kill me through my vessel, don't you? Fools. I am a demon of legend with a power that makes even Kami himself tremble in fear. I have no intention of dying just yet, and when I do, I will have a worthy successor to my throne long before that day happens. It's almost a pity that none of you will be there when that day happens," said the fire-like form of Kyuubi before using all 9 of his fire-like tails, creating a massive explosion of fire outside its form. Unfortunately for Naruto, the strain of maintaining Kyuubi's temporary form in his still recovering condition made his form collapse, and all he saw was darkness. "Damn it. I can only hold this form for a little longer before it gives out, and no doubt more of those damn Konoha shinobi are on their way after this. Fortunately, all I need is a moment, and there is enough chakra to get us out of here," said Kyuubi using his fire-like teeth, and picked up the boy. He still had some residual demonic chakra on him to prevent himself from being burned before heading towards the border, knowing a select few could pursue once they crossed. "Hokage Tower. Tsunade-sama. Do you think it could be the Kaiu?" said Shizun, rushing to the window, seeing a large explosion in the distance, making her stop her current sentence right before Tsunade could. "Shizun, go get Jiraiya, and tell him to go retrieve Naruto now. Tell him to do what he has to do," said Tsunade, knowing that if it came down to it, Jiraiya may have to be the one who kills Naruto, and she knew that when it did happen, it would haunt the super pervert and herself until the day they died. She didn't notice Hinata had slipped out of her grasp and ran out of her office. Naruto, I am so sorry, thought Tsunade, letting tears finally fall from her face, with her hands clenched into fists, knowing that no matter what she did, she couldn't seem to save the one she cared about. It seemed the heavens too were crying since it was now raining once more outside. Flashback. Those bastards. Thought Tsunade entered her office filled with so much anger right now that she wanted to smash the first person she saw, regardless of who they were. Going over to her desk, she saw a note written in Naruto handwriting, and picked it up, feeling a sinking feeling in her heart, since no one should have been in her office. Dear old hag and council teams. If you're reading this, then it's clear that I'm not here right now, and I'm out of the village away from you Uchiha loving faces. All my life I've had to put up with your shit, and the deliberate attempts to weaken me out of your arrogant wisdom, thinking I would destroy Konoha. First off, I never had any intentions of attacking Konohara's people unless it was in self-defense, and protecting my right to exist. From now on I answer to no one in Konoha. My life, my will, and my very being is my own to do with, as I see fit. I will not let my life be dictated by some old fossils, who are afraid of losing their position, and fading gracefully into the history books. You have all let your arrogance blind you to the belief the Uchiha clan will be revived by a guy, who hasn't even looked at a girl, much less taken interest in one. You would have a better chance of Itachi theme coming back doing the job himself, but just to piss you and Sasuke team off, I'll remove Itachi from your hands soon enough since he's after me. If I decide to come back to Konoha, it won't be to protect his people, but rather to destroy them, since they have done nothing to deserve any form of mercy from me. So to you all listening, I suggest you keep an eye open at night, because when I return the leaf will run red with blood, and its people will burn in hell. Uzumaki Naruto, aka your soon-to-be worst nightmare. P.S. For all you council members reading this, I know you ordered my execution, so thank you for giving me the reason to come back to kill everyone. Have a nice day. Not. Oh no. Oh Kami, please no, said Tsunade, falling back into her chair, as tears fell from her eyes in sorrow. Then flashback. Now, as the Hokage of Konoha, she was sending her last remaining friend, when she was a part of the legendary three, to kill her little brother. I deserve to go to hell, said Tsunade, putting her head on the table, covering it with her hair and tears. Some time later, Naruto found himself lying face up in a dark cave with a roaring fire next to him, no doubt created by Kyuubi, right before his form died away and spirit went back into his seal. He heard the rain outside the cave entrance, meaning that the trail that was left behind would be lost in the weather. Thank Kami for small favors, even if he owes me a couple hundred big fat ones, thought Naruto, sitting up, cracking his neck and other joints in his body aching all over. Now that you are conscious again, we need to have a serious talk. You are no longer safe in this world, and for you to become stronger, you will need to leave it, said Kyuubi, after focusing some of the chakra out of Naruto's body into the fire to create a fox head. Leave this world? What the hell are you talking about? Said Naruto, frowning at the fire and at the fox head in front of him. Just as I originally said, kid. I will help you open a portal to Demon World that will take you right to the outside of my den, where I hold all sorts of knowledge, items, and skills for you to learn. However, if I do this, you have to do two things for me in return that I will hold you to your very word in keeping, said Kyuubi, as the seriousness in his voice didn't change. I'm listening, said Naruto curiously. First, you will drop that stupid smiling mask. It may fool those flesh maggots back in Konoha, but not the demons lying in wait in Demon World. You must be calm, yet as cold as ice, and your mind must be as sharp as steel, said Kyuubi, knowing that the only way the kid was going to get stronger was to remove the handicap he created for himself, even if it was only created to keep himself alive in a hostile environment. Done and done. What's the second? Said Naruto, interlacing his hands together, looking right at the fox, completely focused on getting stronger. You become my successor, the heir to my throne, and more importantly become the son I was wanted. I will give you power, the knowledge I possess, and how to use or control that power. Whatever you do with the power I give you will be entirely up to your discretion in using it, said Kyuubi, not wanting his legacy to die with him, as that would be one of the worst things imaginable for a demon. To be the last of your kind to die in such a lonely manner. So I would be a demon lord like you were, said Naruto, frowning, as he now imagined himself as a giant fox destroying everything in sight. Yes. But before you simply assume you would become a violent four-legged beast like I was, you are gravely mistaken. At least partially mistaken anyway, since we demons can have human-like forms when there are times that require us to be in them, said Kyuubi, before turning its fiery head towards another figure in the cave, moaning in pain. Who the hell is that? Said Naruto, getting up from his spot, and walking over to the one person he thought would not be around, much less breathing right now. Oh, him? Surely you remember him. I found him while taking you to safety, barely breathing due to a disease that once plagued his lungs. His name is Kamimuro if my memory is correct, from when he stopped you, and that lazy Nara clan member from successfully completing your mission of retrieving the Uchiha from the other Sound Shinobi. I believe he will make a very nice spy and bodyguard for you during your time in Demon World once he is properly healed and fully cured him of the disease, said Kyuubi, as he looked at the albino, remembering the man's undying loyalty and how such love could be channeled to serve him. You mean he's not fully cured? Said Naruto, looking at the fox before sitting down near Kamimuro to see that the curse seal on his chest was removed. A form of incentive in case the kid wants to still serve Orochimaru. Before, the disease could not be cured by normal human hands, but, as you slept in your unconscious state, I used my demonic chakra to reduce the severity of disease. Now it is in a lower yet still lethal stage that can be possibly cured, if he is given the proper treatment in time from a skilled doctor. I wonder how he will react when he learns that his disease became untreatable because of the curse seal that was once on his body. Said Kyuubi, now laughing at the irony of the situation. What do you mean, Kyuubi? Said Naruto, looking at the fox now, not seeing the one eye of Kamimuro now fully open, being awake, hearing the whole conversation. Orochimaru knew this boy had the disease long before it became known to Kabuto or Kamimuro himself, even when he was told. The curse seal that Orochimaru gave him had accelerated the disease's destruction rate ahead of schedule, due to the corruption of the chakra in the seal itself. This in turn made Kamimuro unable to have Orochimaru use his body, but it also made the time he had on this earth short, due to the increase in the disease spreading throughout his lungs, said Kyuubi, seeing the albino was alive, but didn't let it show to either human. So in a nutshell, had Kamimuro not been given the curse seal by Orochimaru, he could have been treated and then been used as the Sanin's newest body, said Naruto, his eyes widening at the stupidity of the snake man, wondering why he did what he did. Exactly. You see, for all Orochimaru's so-called power, he fears those that rival him no matter how loyal they are, and you know, as well as I do, the Sanin will do anything to keep them under his thumb. Kamimuro has one of the strongest senses of will to live I have ever seen in a long time. Curse seal or not. Had the Sanin tried to possess the albino without the seal, regardless of the disease, the jutsu would have failed, and Orochimaru would be no more, said Kyuubi, turning his head now to see Kamimuro's open eye overflowing with watery tears, as the truth pierced his very soul. My whole life up until now in his service has been nothing but a lie. Thought Kamimuro angrily, knowing how far he went to please his former master with the assassination of the Kazekage that led to the Sound Suna invasion, the rounding up of potential candidates for future body possessions, and the recent mission to retrieve the Uchiha being just a few of them. I know you're awake, albino, I've sensed it for some time, and I know you heard every little detail I just said to my vessel. I have spoken only the truth about what I said about your former master Orochimaru and your disease, said Kyuubi, knowing that while the truth may hurt Kamimuro now, the rewards for doing so would be several times greater. I see that now. However, in some way I've always known that about Orochimaru, and the knowledge that I was being used by him for his own end. Even though I knew this, I still followed the Sanin, knowing my life had purpose in serving another no matter the reason behind it, said Kamimuro, earning a nod from Naruto and understanding, since that was all he ever wanted to. Kami must have been asleep or taking a break when our lives were made a living hell, thought Naruto, wondering how Kami would explain this to him when they eventually met somewhere down the line. Incidentally, the angels up in heaven noticed that Kami was getting his team of lawyers together more and more to discuss legal matters, as it was put. He said I could be cured completely, said Kamimuro, looking at the fox head made of fire that nodded in his direction. Yes, but such a thing is not without price. You serve the snake Sanin with fanatical devotion, and so you will serve my vessel with the same loyalty. Do you have a problem with that? Said Kyuubi, glaring at the albino, who shivered under the demon lord's gaze, knowing that it was far worse than Orochimaru. No, Kyuubi-sama, no problem at all. I swear that when I am fully healed by your power that I will forever serve you and Naruto-sama until my last breath, said Kamimuro before he went into a small coughing fit with his disease acting up once more. Good. We will begin preparations for healing you soon once my heir and vessel has his strength returned to him, since it will be from his body the demonic chakra will flow from. Before that I will begin the transformation of his form into that of a future fox demon. After those two objectives become complete, we will head to Wave Country to retrieve another pair of bodyguards and spies to assist in our endeavors, said Kyuubi, knowing of two others they could retrieve to assist his vessel in anything that happens. You don't mean, said Naruto, only to see Kyuubi's fiery head nod once, making the boy's eyes widen. Yes, I do. Once they are resurrected we will head to the demon world while your three new allies keep tabs on Konoha and the other villages while we're away for 3 years, said Kyuubi, getting another surprised look from Naruto. 3 years? I can't learn everything you know in 3 years, said Naruto, wondering what the fox was thinking when it decided that. You have little faith, my child. You see, the whole thing involving time, seconds, minutes, hours, and everything else concerning that crap does not apply there. How do you think we demons have lived for so long without falling at the hands of Father Time? Said Kyuubi, knowing that when he got through training Naruto, no force on Kami's sweet earth could or would be able to stop Naruto. Not even the second coming of Uchiha Madara. You know more than anyone when my body will be right for this transformation, so just tell when my body ready to handle it, and I'll do what I have to do, said Naruto, knowing that he pushed himself to a point of near suicidal tendencies when it came to fighting or training. And having to hold back a lot so the villagers would think he was harmless. Well, harmless enough anyway that they believed he couldn't kill them, but not so weak that he couldn't fight back. That, however, was going to change very soon. We'll start tonight then, said Kyuubi before his fire-made form disappeared, making the final decision. Well, as long as we're waiting, let's learn more about each other, said Naruto, turning to Kamimuro, who nodded slightly if not by much from his position. His eyes are filled with pain like mine. I've seen those eyes before on another when I was still a child growing up right before my clan was killed, thought Kamimuro, as he mostly listened to Naruto tell him about the pranks he pulled on people who had been mean to him. Kamimuro gave a weak smile when he heard how Naruto had managed to make a certain pink-haired woman end up with her head shaved in her sleep. Kamimuro almost let out a chuckle at how there was no proof Naruto had done it when asked about it the next day without the Horino woman incriminating herself, telling the Hokage that she broke his S-class law that very same day that resulted in the prank itself being justified. Granted, Naruto didn't understand what she meant when she said those words, which had stopped her from being killed, but the fact that she was fired from her job and forbidden to take another for the next 8 months was just as bad. Naruto had enjoyed every minute of her frustration. Hokage Tower. Tsunade was depressed at the news given to her by the female Jounin moments ago, as she had sent Jiraiya to the source of the explosion with Yuhi Kurenai as his backup. They had hoped that Naruto would be unconscious from using so much of the demon's power. What they saw was the charred ash remains of the entire Anbu unit sent after Naruto, but not the blonde-haired youth himself, meaning he was either dead or he had escaped. So Jiraiya went on ahead to search for Naruto. I see sending you back to report to me about your findings, said Tsunade, knowing that, as skilled as Kurenai was, she was no match for Naruto, even in his weakened condition. Especially if Kyuubi was influencing him more and more. Yes. Jiraiya-san felt that since he was the stronger of the two of us, that he stood a better chance at disabling Naruto than me, said Kurenai. He saw her Hyuga student look at her with pleading eyes before she left to leave Naruto alone. I silently hope Jiraiya doesn't catch the idiot so the kid can live a somewhat better life away from here, said Tsunade, curing her bad luck and losing that bet that forced her to become Hokage. Whatever freedom he's gained won't last long. If Jiraiya-san doesn't find him, Akatsuki, Orochimaru, and/or the hunter ninja sent out to look for him will. Is there any way you can remove the execution order given by the council? You're Hokage, and you do have more power than they make you believe you don't have, said Kurenai, wondering just how bad this village had gotten without the Sandame or the Yondaime for that matter. I wish I could, Kurenai, but when Sarutobi-sensei died and Jiraiya went looking for me with Naruto, the council pulled a fast one in the law books. They gave themselves more power and influence over the village with the people supporting them, since they all hate Naruto, as well, said Tsunade, knowing that with the vast majority of the village behind the council, her power was thinned, as it was. For once, I almost wish the demon inside of him would possess Naruto. It would almost be a much more merciful death than the one meant for him here, said Kurenai, knowing that if the council wanted they could no doubt do horrible things to Naruto before having him executed. What better way to solidify their power than offer up a sacrifice that was ironically already used as a sacrifice for different reasons. If only I could tell the village who Naruto's parents were, said Tsunade, getting more and more frustrated with this with every passing second. Why can't you tell them? Said Kurenai, wondering who the demon vessel's parents were. Because the council won't let me like they did the third. If the village found out, then the council would be forced to disband under the grounds for putting their own needs ahead of a Hokage or his offspring, said Tsunade, having read a few of the laws placed down concerning such matters. Wait. Naruto's father was a Hokage. But that means oh sweet Kami, said Kurenai, as she pictured the late Yondaime right next to the boy, and put the two together. Yes. The only reason the council couldn't kill off Naruto back then apparently was that Sandame was going to release that piece of information, should the kid be killed. It would have made the council seem heartless, and make them lose all self-respect within Konoha, allowing the third to execute them all for killing the son of a Kage, said Tsunade, as she remembered how the fourth and the council butted heads like crabs in a power contest when first starting out to change things for the better in Konoha. Danzo was ordered to disband Root by the third, with the soon-to-be fourth supporting it, while taking on an advisory position with little to no power, except the use of his own voice. Both Homura and Koharu were to step down shortly after the fourth took office to make way for new, but still experienced blood to take over. In short, it was supposed to be a simple changing of the guard, since the current Hokage at the time was getting too old, and the council even older looking. That of course was before the Kyuubi had come and attacked, changing the dynamics of things around them, letting the old guard stay to get their revenge on the one who supported their fall from power. With his now former friends turning on the one once in charge, the professor, when he became Hokage, used all of his political strength he had left to protect Naruto from the wolves that wanted him dead. So far it did little to stop the hatred from affecting the poor boy it was aimed at. You could still tell the people, and hopefully they will come around, said Kurenai, trying to fight the feeling of lead in her stomach at this knowledge given to her. Even if I did, the council is still too far into power to pride them of it now, and would no doubt spin it in their favor. They would call Naruto a disgrace to the Force legacy in abandoning the village, and tell everyone about the Kyuubi in him. It's the perfect excuse they need to break the third's law without being punished for it later on. I don't want to give them any more leverage than they already have, said Tsunade, sighing, wishing her little brother would come back soon. With Naruto nightfall. It's time. Are you ready? Said Kyuubi, making his appearance once more from the fire, looking at a shirtless Naruto in a mediating position with the seal showing on his stomach. I sure am, said Naruto, bringing his hands together, and starting making hand signs that Kyuubi showed him in his mind, as demonic chakra swirled around the young boy with his necklace glowing slightly at this interaction. Good. Repeat these words I send into your head after me out loud, and complete it just as you do the final hand sign. When that happens, your chakra will redirect itself back into the seal that holds me. By doing this, the seal will then collapse, allowing my power to flow in your chakra coil system without any interference. This will allow me to take temporary control of your body just long enough to alter your DNA for you to adjust to the full transformation. I won't lie to you, kid, this will hurt a great deal beyond anything you've ever felt before, and for a brief moment you may technically die, said Kyuubi, wants Naruto to know the ramifications of doing this specific transformation. Let's get this thing started, said Naruto, focusing on his chakra and feeling it throughout his body, while Kamimuro had a chakra barrier over him to ensure his protection. Begin, said Kyuubi, preparing himself for what was to happen, and hoped for the best, knowing that if this went bad, they were seriously screwed. Taking a deep breath, Naruto readied his mind, and recited the words sent to him by the demon fox in his mind. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chain is broken. And I am free. Naruto had just finished saying the words, as he landed on the final demon hand sign that Kyuubi showed that stood for fox in perfect sync. The instant that happened, Naruto felt as if the life in his body was being drained away, yet not leaving his body. It was as if it was being directed to a single point in his body, being filled like a glass being filled with water to the brink of overflowing. Just as the feeling stopped, Naruto felt his heart also stopped, and just like Kyuubi said, it was in that moment that he felt as if death itself touched his very soul. It wasn't the first time this happened, since the villagers always made sure that he remembered his place in their lives. Those people Naruto was unfortunate to meet did die by the order of the old third Hokage, and their remains were sent to the family, telling them to back off in any further attempt at attacking the child. However, with the Sandaime now dead, Naruto had no doubt that if he stayed in Konoha, the stupid villagers would no doubt try to be bolder, thinking that Tsunade, as their new Hokage, would be merciful to them, and not care what happened to the demon boy. If, and when he returned to the Leaf, they would find such joys of beating him up along with their days of living, depending on which villagers or shinobi he encountered. Just as his heart stopped from his lack of chakra, his heart now was thumping faster than a rabbit being chased, as his body had exploded with chakra, creating a spiraling tower. The demonic chakra shot upward, piercing the small mountainous area into the heavens with 9 tails, like a wave of chakra that soon followed, tearing apart everything around Naruto. Not far away. What is the name of all things created by Kami? Thought Jiraiya saw the sight before him on a tree, as he saw a large amount of terrain had been completely destroyed. The self-proclaimed super pervert could feel the intense and familiar taint of the strong demonic chakra all around the destroyed area. Knowing that the Kyuubi had caused this in some way, the Sannin headed towards his student in the hopes that the boy was alive yet unconscious. At least then Jiraiya could make the kill as painless as possible, even if he didn't want to do it in the first place. Damn council. They wouldn't even be around had it not been for the Kyuubi inside of Naruto, thought Jiraiya, having been given his order by Shizune that came from Tsunade. With Naruto stood panting from the exhausting transformation, with his clothing ripped, as he was now noticeably taller, and had more of a muscular build that was not too bulky, but not too thin either. His hands were now claws like when he normally called on the demonic power, his teeth were more pronounced, his eyes no longer blue, but rather purple, and with fox-like slits. His once blonde hair was now longer, speckier, and with streaks of red going down from the roots straight down to the tips. His human ears were gone now, and above his head were red fox ears that were much sharper than his old ones. The only real thing that he didn't have were any of the 9 tails that would signify him as a true demon fox, which Naruto felt was slightly disappointing, considering that he was supposed to be Kyuubi's heir. I know what you're thinking, kid, is in regards to being tailless, but the tails only come out when you transform into your beast-like state. Like me, when you transform you will have all 9 tails at your beck, and call to destroy whatever you see fit that you want destroyed, said Kyuubi, glad that it all worked out. And that Naruto survived along with himself, since it would suck to die at the hands of your newly adopted son, right after it was official. Good to know. Where's Kamimuro? said Naruto looking around, seeing the red dome like a chakra barrier shielding the albino from harm. I am here, Naruto-sama, you do not need to worry about me, said Kamimuro, shocked at seeing his new master's incredible power, and was glad he sided with the demon vessel now soon to one day be demon lord. I asked because I do worry about Kamimuro-sen. I don't want you to get hurt because of me, said Naruto, cancelling the barrier around the albino before kneeling down and placing a hand on Kamimuro's chest. What are you doing? Said Kamimuro, as demonic chakra came to Naruto's hands before entering the albino's chest cavity. What's it look like? I'm healing you, as previously discussed between you, me, and Kyuubi earlier. Now please hold still since this is going to hurt a lot. Demonic healing art. Purge of the unnatural jutsu. Said Naruto, closing his eyes and focusing on the disease in question, finding the sickly remains of the illness before burning it out of the albino's body. Naruto wasn't surprised that Kamimuro held back his scream for a solid 10 seconds before letting it out for all of Fire Country to hear his cries. When the jutsu was done, there was a smoking imprint of Naruto's hand on Kamimuro's chest area, with the said albino breathing heavily from the event. However, it was clearly noticeable that the breathing was smoother, instead of the strained breaths Kamimuro had always taken originally due to the disease. Am I cured? Said Kamimuro, finding it almost hard to believe since he had been just moments ago plagued with a deadly illness. Yep. You were told that you would be cured, and now you are. Now let's get the hell out of here before someone comes to investigate these series of events, said Naruto, sensing a figure fast approaching, who had pretty strong chakra levels. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kamimuro, rising up slowly from the ground trying not to fall in front of his master before looking at his surroundings. Naruto, said Jiraiya, appearing before the two shinobi on a large horse-sized battle-toad dressed in heavy armor. Well, if it isn't good old Iro-senin. Have you come to do what 8 Anbu teams could not? I know all about the order to kill me by the council, and how the old hag was just too spineless to fight back with everything she had. Said Naruto, seeing the surprised look on Jiraiya's face at him knowing the truth about that. Their hands were tied to Naruto. The council saw their chance to finally kill you over the fact that you failed the mission to retrieve Sasuke, said Jiraiya, only to feel an increased amount of killer intent coming from Naruto, his eyes glowing red. They wanted to kill me over one failed mission, Iro-senin. For some Uchiha who left willingly. Did you ever fail a mission? Of course you did. No one is perfect. You can't expect a small team of genin and one chunin to go after the Uchiha to come out on top. Especially, when he's being protected by the personal bodyguards of Orochimaru. Said Naruto, getting pissed at everyone screwing him over, and the ones that supposedly care not having the guts to help out of fear of being labeled something they were ashamed of being called. I guess it's true what they say. When good men do nothing, it's evil enough. Or is it the phrase evil triumphs? Maybe it's both, thought Jiraiya, knowing he had failed the fourth, and like Tsunade was still living in the past with his peeping, rather than taking Naruto's training seriously. You tell the council, and the arrogant villagers I'm dead because I am no longer the person known as Uzumaki Naruto. I am Kyuubi Naruto, the son of the Demon King, said Naruto, turning around and walking away with Kamimuro right behind him. Naruto stops. I don't want to kill you, but I will, said Jiraiya's toad, leaping over the two, and in front of them with Jiraiya forming a Rasengan in his right hand. Come against Naruto-sama, and I will not hesitate to kill you, said Kamimuro using his bloodline, and got into a fighting position despite his slightly weakened condition. You should listen to Iro-senin. This guy right next to me was once handpicked as the Hibi team's prize vessel before Sasuke, but the disease that I removed took that option away. I can also imagine Kamimuro is now stronger than your old teammate Iro-senin, and despite my albino friend's current condition, I think with me added into the mix, you just don't know how things will end up for you, said Naruto, smiling a devious smile that made Jiraiya nervous. Naruto, said Jiraiya, only to be silenced by the killer intent the boy was giving off. Sorry. Is it the word you were going to say, Iro-senin? Figures, since that is the only word you can say to me while trying to justify yourself to me. Go back to the old hag, and tell her that you were no match for me, and I showed you mercy, since she will need your help to hold off the least enemies a little while longer. Now that the Uchiha is in Orochimaru's hands, I think she'll need all the help she can get to fend off both them and the Akatsuki. Oh, and Iro-senin, keep Kamimuro out of your report to the old hag, since we don't want Orochimaru finding out about him from his spies, and then trying to pursue my friend here to use for another body some 3 years down the road, said Naruto before he and Kamimuro walked around the giant toad. And Jiraiya, knowing that the man would more or less not pursue them out of the knowledge that the former demon vessel was right. He's right, I can't fight, much less kill him, or the other guy, if what Naruto said was true about his strength. Orochimaru only picked the strongest of potential shinobi around him in becoming his vessel, and if this albino kid was really considered the candidate with the disease before choosing Sasuke, then there is a good chance I could have lost. Thought Jiraiya, letting his head hang in shame knowing he had failed to do what was asked of him by the Hokage. Jiraiya, what do you want to do now? You want me to go after him? Said the toad, looking up at his summoner, who shook his head slowly. No. Take me back to Konoha. I have to give Tsunade the bad news, said Jiraiya, his voice lacking emotion, knowing that when word got out what transpired here, things were going to go from bad to worse. As if they could get any worse. I'll have to tell Gamabunta about this. He really was attached to the kid, you know. It will break his old toad heart, said the toad, leaping off back to Konoha. If Tsunade doesn't kill me, he certainly can, said Jiraiya, not really caring about who beat the crap out of him in regards to this. Either way, Jiraiya fell dead inside. Several days later. Those we seek are in the land of waves, Naruto-sama, said Kamimuro, frowning at the sight of the territory with the large bridge stretching connecting it to the mainland. Yes, Kamimuro. This is also the place that I helped believe in heroes again, and treated me as one too. You will show all of them the respect they deserve while we're here, said Naruto, heading towards the bridge with Kamimuro nodding in understanding. As you command, Naruto-sama, said Kamimuro, knowing that if these people respect his master, he could respect them in return. We can only stay here for a few days, since that damned council back in Konoha will not take Jiraiya's failure to kill you lightly. They will search every spot that you've been to that you are on good terms with due to outside missions, and this is one on a very small list, said Kyuubi, knowing it was only a matter of time before hunter ninjas were sent to find him here. What I have in mind won't take long, father. Besides, I need a new set of clothing since what I have is kind of irritating me, said Naruto, knowing that it didn't matter if he spoke out loud to his father, since Kamimuro knew who he was talking about. It didn't take long for them to cross the bridge and meet the thriving populace of Wave, who greeted Naruto despite being a little concerned by his changes. They weren't afraid of him, mind you, but they were more surprised than anything by his new look, since they last saw him only a few months ago. Naruto Nai-chan, said Inari, having run up to hug the older boy, embracing his hero and surrogate brother, having missed him after just a few months. Hey Inari. Everything okay here in Wave Country? Said Naruto, smiling at the smiling boy before him, seeing happiness in those eyes. You bet. Our daimyo even named a holiday in honor of you. We call it Heroes Day to honor heroes like you, Nai-chan. But can I ask you a question? Said Inari, finally noticing the new look his brother was sporting. Is it about my appearance? Tell you what, you take both me and my friend Kamimuro here to your house. I'll tell you all about it, said Naruto, seeing Inari nod his head up and down excitedly at having his big brother back home. They truly do care about Naruto-sama. This is a place where heroes are respected, and is worth fighting for, thought Kamimuro, seeing looks of respect towards his master, as Inari led them to his house where his mother and grandfather currently were. To say that both Tsunami and Tazuna were surprised was an understatement, as she gave Naruto a hug, while Tazuna broke out another bottle to drink in honor of the kid's return. Granted, the old man was going to open another bottle regardless, but now he had a whole new reason, and special occasion too, which made it all the sweeter. After Naruto explained all that happened to him, from his supposed execution that was supposed to take place in Konoha, to the point where he became the son of Kyuubi, and then to introducing Kamimuro to them, the family was quite shocked. The once poor family had understood when they first met the boy that Naruto didn't exactly have the best childhood, and now they knew the reason why. To think they would hate you because you have the demon sealed inside of you, or on the belief that you are the fox in human form. That's just pathetic. Well, I'm going to talk to the daimyo about this, and see if we can't stick it to those assholes back in Konoha, said Tazuna in a slightly drunken haze, but still sober enough to speak his mind. Father. Mind your language in front of Inari, said Tsunami, scolding her father for his choice of language in front of her child. Thanks Tazuna, I appreciate it. I know a few places you can branch out from in terms of trade you can give your daimyo when you speak to him. Just tell him that the hero from Wave gave them his personal recommendations for doing business with, said Naruto, before writing down the places that they should try for trading, and gave it to the old man, who read over the list several times. Snow Country? Really? Wow. If you think they will help us in trading with us, I'm all for it, kid. Especially, after I heard that the place became the exact opposite of its name now after a certain shinobi paid it a little visit. I think the princess there was able to rename it Spring Country or something like that, said Tazuna, seeing several shinobi villages on the list, which was good, since they weren't going to do business with Konoha anymore. You mean Princess Yuki? Yeah, I know her. I helped her believe that heroes do exist, and helped her country get back on its feet. Trust me when I say that she will be more than happy to do business with you for a long time, Tazuna-san. Provided of course that you are sober during the negotiations of the trade agreement between Wave and Spring, said Naruto, knowing that trade between the two countries would do wonders for the both of them. Sweet, said Inari, knowing that Wave was going to prosper even further thanks to his Nai-chan. Forgive me for interrupting your conversation, Naruto-sama, but we are on a very tight schedule, and need a change of clothing before we set out on our mission, said Kamimuro, hoping he was doing the right thing in terms of bringing up their business in front of this innocent family. No, you are right, Kamimuro, we do have things to do, and we need to do them quickly. Tsunami-chan, do you know of a tailor for me, and Kamimuro can go for clothing? Said Naruto, looking at the woman before him, who nodded, and gave him directions to a place that had set up shop only a few weeks ago. With the information at hand, the two shinobi head out to the store with Inari going with them to make sure they got there and to see their new looks firsthand. Since his Nai-chan had ripped pants and barely fitting shirt while his albino friend was shirtless with dark baggy pants, it was clear that they needed a look that would show they were completely badass. Quite frankly, Inari wouldn't have it any other way. Konoha Hokage Tower. Damn that demon hell spawn. We lost a team of Anbu to him, and the Toad Sannin was apparently powerless to stop him, and showed mercy to prove how weak we become, said Danzo, slamming his good hand on the desk in front of his fellow council members, who all nodded in agreement. This information about him becoming Kyuubi's son is most frightening indeed. If we do nothing, then Konoha will fall before it has had a chance to recover from the damage we suffered during the Sand Sound invasion, said a civilian council member. It was well known for being in Danzo's pocket in terms of support for the Warhawk. Many if not all of the clan heirs are quite upset at what has happened to the demon boy, while only the Haruno child is still devoted to the last Uchiha. Apparently, the demon has had a powerful influence on them, and those that are not in the hospital are becoming somewhat hostile to the villagers. Even more so are some of the shinobi that are new, and like the damn demon, who know more about his childhood. The old woman in charge of the orphanage that would try to starve the vessel was found hanged in the village square with her guts and eyes ripped out with no witnesses to how she got there. We suspect it was one if not several of the more skilled Jounin ninja loyal to the late 4th and 3rd Hokage, but we can't prove which ones, said Koharu, sighing at this, as the village was not as stable as they had all hoped it would be. Somewhere in Konoha in a dango restaurant, Anko and Hana sneezed loudly while Ibiki held his in after sensing it coming. Having his name mentioned so many times by the late 3rd, 4th, and current 5th Hokage had its advantages for Ibiki having developed a sixth sense to these things. We will deal with those demon lovers as time passes while we wait for the demon to make another appearance in the other countries before we can plan an attack strategy. In addition to our outer attack plan, we will focus on an inner attack strategy to kill him. I know how the demon thinks, and sooner or later the beast will re-enter Konoha to save his precious people, and when he does we will strike him down with all our might. With the creature gone, the people will love us, and will see that Tsunade was wrong to support the demon spawn. They will see that we the council, not the Hokage, is needed to ensure that Konoha's future shines as brightly as the sun itself, said Danzo, knowing that with the order to kill the Kyuubi vessel's son on sight, in effect the abomination was as good as dead. Those poor, stupid, unfortunate, and arrogant souls. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.